Hello friends. Welcome at English Express Pro. This is going to be a comprehensive video on the poem The Stone Speaks in the Forest, in which I will cover about the author, explanation in English and then in Hindi, types of literary devices used, and in the end poem overview as a revision. After watching this video, you would not need assistance from anywhere else to understand this poem. Let us get started. Usually, we grasp the poem in very first study. Poems also help to score solid marks in examination. For this we need to cover all aspects. First, about the author. Chandra Kanta Murasingh is the first Northeast poet to win Sahitya Akademi's Bhasha Samman. He was born in 1957 in Tripura and passed away on 27 March 2023, following a cardiac arrest. He has published 5 collections of poetry in Kokborok, that is Tripuri language, namely The Stone Speaks in the Forest, The Python Calls in the Deserted Tom House, Rise Up Chetuveng Tree, Sprinkle the Rain and The Silver Pope in My Room. His poetry reveals a commitment to recording the agonies of life in contemporary Tripura. This poem was translated into English by B.S. Rajkumar. Stanza 1. The pretty golden deer grew restless and suddenly came running into this amlaki grove, looking for a mate. The stone did not speak. The deer will leave now. Explanation. In this stanza, the poet describes a scene where a beautiful golden deer becomes agitated and starts running. It enters an amlaki grove, a type of tree or place, in search of a mate. The poet sets the stage with this description, emphasizing the deer's restlessness and its quest for companionship. There is a reference to a stone that does not respond or speak to the deer's presence. The implication is that the stone is silent and unresponsive, suggesting the futility of the deer's search for a mate. The poet hints that the deer will eventually give up and leave, as its efforts to find a mate seem fruitless. व्याख्या. इस छंद में कवि उस दृश्य का वर्णन करता है जहां एक सुंदर सुनहरा हिरण उत्तेजित हो जाता है और भागने लगता है। यह साथी की तलाश में अमलाकी उपवन, एक प्रकार का पेड़ या स्थान, में प्रवेश करता है। कवि इस वर्णन के साथ मंच तैयार करता है जिसमें हिरण की बेचैनी और उसके साथी की तलाश पर जोर दिया गया है। एक ऐसे पत्थर का संदर्भ है जो हिरण की उपस्थिति पर प्रतिक्रिया या बात नहीं करता है। निहितार्थ यह है कि पत्थर मौन और अनुत्तरदायी है, जो हिरण की साथी की तलाश की निरर्थकता का सुझाव देता है। कवि संकेत देता है कि हिरण अंततः हार मान लेगा और चला जाएगा, क्योंकि साथी ढूंढने के उसके प्रयास निरर्थक प्रतीत होते हैं। Stanza 2. One day the king arrived, lights played. He stood, with his foot pressing the forehead of the stone, and looking to find which way his prey was on the run. Explanation. In this stanza, the poet introduces the arrival of a king. The king is described as standing with lights playing around him. He places his foot on the stone and appears to be searching for something, perhaps referring to the golden deer mentioned in previous stanza. The imagery suggests that the king is on a hunt and is trying to determine the direction in which his prey, the deer, has fled. व्याख्या. इस छंद में कवि एक राजा के आगमन का परिचय देता है। राजा को अपने चारों ओर रोशनी बिखेरते हुए खड़ा बताया गया है। वह अपना पैर पत्थर पर रखता है और कुछ खोजता हुआ प्रतीत होता है, शायद पिछले छंद में वर्णित सुनहरे हिरण का जिक्र कर रहा है। कल्पना से पता चलता है कि राजा शिकार पर है और यह निर्धारित करने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि उसका शिकार, हिरण, किस दिशा में भाग गया है। Stanza 3. The weight of feet tormenting the hill. The stone was silent because the pain was not his alone. Explanation. The weight of feet as tormenting the hill suggests that the movement of the king and possibly his entourage on the hill is causing disturbance or disruption. It could be seen as a metaphor for the intrusion of human activity into the natural world. The stone remained silent not because it lacked the ability to speak but because it shared its pain with someone or something else. This suggests a sense of empathy or shared suffering between the stone and another entity. व्याख्या. पहाड़ी को पीड़ा देने वाले पैरों के वजन से पता चलता है कि पहाड़ी पर राजा और संभवतः उनके दल की आवाजाही अशांति या व्यवधान पैदा कर रही है। इसे प्रकृति में मानव गतिविधि की घुसपैठ के रूपक के रूप में देखा जा सकता है। पत्थर चुप रहता था इसलिए नहीं कि उसमें बोलने की क्षमता नहीं थी, बल्कि इसलिए चुप रहता था क्योंकि वह अपना दर्द किसी और के साथ साझा करता था। यह पत्थर और अन्य इकाई के बीच सहानुभूति या साझा पीड़ा की भावना का सुझाव देता है। Stanza 4. A man with a broken heart came today, accompanied by his lady love, sprayed dreams and tears on the stone, and went away roving upstream. Explanation. The poet describes the arrival of a heartbroken man. He is accompanied by his lover. The man appears to express his emotions by spraying dreams and tears on the stone, a symbolic act that represents his grief and longing. Afterward, he leaves, rowing upstream, suggesting a departure from the scene of his heartache. व्याख्या कवि एक टूटा हुआ दिल वाला आदमी के आगमन का वर्णन करता है। उसके साथ उसकी प्रेमिका भी है। ऐसा प्रतीत होता है कि आदमी पत्थर पर सपने और आंसू छिड़ककर अपनी भावनाओं को व्यक्त करता है, एक प्रतीकात्मक कार्य जो उसके दुहक और लालसा को दर्शाता है। इसके बाद वह अपने दिल के दर्द के दृश्य से प्रस्थान का सुझाव देते हुए ऊपर की ओर नौकायन करते हुए चला जाता है। Stanza 5. They will build their home in the deep forest. Water runs, the laidom leaves quiver. Hachukrai drags his bamboo raft. There is a market downstream, on a sandy islet. Explanation. In this stanza, the poet introduces the idea that the heartbroken man and his lover plan to build their home in the deep forest. The mention of the laidom leaves quiver and Hachukrai that symbolize local Tiavan Bialis of Tripura drags his bamboo raft paints a picture of a tranquil natural setting. Additionally, the reference to a market downstream on a sandy islet suggests that there is life and activity elsewhere in the vicinity. व्याख्या इस छंद में कवि इस विचार का परिचय देता है कि टूटा हुआ दिल वाला आदमी और उसका प्रेमी गहरे जंगल में अपना घर बनाने की योजना बना रहे हैं। लैडोम के पत्तों का तरकश और हचुक्राई जो त्रिपुरा के स्थानीय आदिवासियों को प्रतिबिंबित करता है, अपने बांस के बेड़े को खींचता है का उल्लेख एक शांत प्राकृतिक सेटिंग की तस्वीर पेश करता है। इसके अतिरिक्त रेतीले टापू पर नीचे की ओर बाजार के संदर्भ से पता चलता है कि आसपास के क्षेत्र में कहीं और जीवन और गतिविधि है। Stanza 6. Wondering, who will respond now? The stone speaks in the forest, with bow and arrow in hand. Explanation. In the final stanza, there is a sense of wonder or curiosity about who will respond to the man's emotional outpouring. The stone, which had been silent earlier, is personified as to come alive and speaks in the forest with a bow and arrow against the material exploitation of the forest by man. This imagery suggests a connection between human emotions, nature, and the potential for healing or transformation. व्याख्या अंतिम छंद में इस बात को लेकर आश्चर्य या जिज्ञासा का भाव व्यक्त किया गया है कि उस व्यक्ति के भावनात्मक उद्गार पर कौन प्रतिक्रिया देगा। पत्थर, जो पहले शांत था, जीवित होकर मनुष्य द्वारा जंगल के भौतिक शोषण के खिलाफ धनुष और तीर के साथ जंगल में प्रतिक्रिया देता है। यह कल्पना मानवीय भावनाओं, प्रकृति और उपचार या परिवर्तन की क्षमता के बीच संबंध का सुझाव देती है। Following literary devices are used in this poem. Number 1. Imagery. The poem uses vivid and sensory language to create mental images for the reader, such as the pretty golden deer, lights played, the stone speaks in the forest, and with bow and arrow in hand. Number 2. Metaphor. The stone is used metaphorically to represent silence, suffering, and the emotional burdens of different characters. Number 3. Personification. The golden deer is personified when it's described as growing restless and looking for a mate. The stone is also personified when it's described as not speaking and feeling pain. Number 4. Symbolism. The stone may symbolize silence, suffering, or emotional burdens, while the king's arrival and actions can symbolize power and dominance. The deep forest and water symbolize nature and its mysteries. Number 5. Alliteration. The repetition of the consonant sound S in the stone did not speak and the stone was silent creates a soothing or hushed tone, emphasizing the silence of the stone. Number 6. Irony. There is irony in the king's expectation that the stone will reveal the direction of his prey, but it remains silent because it is in pain. This irony highlights the theme of suffering. Number 7. Repetition. The repetition of the word stone draws attention to its significance and underscores its silence and the emotions associated with it. Number 8. Contrast. The poem contrasts the restlessness of the golden deer with the silence and suffering of the stone, creating thematic and emotional contrast. Number 9. Foreshadowing. The lines "they will build their home in the deep forest" foreshadow future events and suggest that the characters' destinies are intertwined with the natural world. Now poem overview. The poem The Stone Speaks in the Forest was composed by Chandra Kanta Murasingh in Borok, that is Tripuri language, which speaks about an ancient myth in a complex manner. Search is the running motif all over the poem: a golden deer looking for a mate, a king hunter looking for his prey, a man with his lady love going upstream to build their home in the deep forest, and Hachukrai rowing downstream towards a market. The deer, the king, the lover, and Hachukrai symbolize earthly life, mythically drawn from the past and the present. Each stanza has structural opposites animate and inanimate like deer and stone, man and nature. Overall, this poem explores themes of nature, the hunt, and the interaction between humans and the environment. The golden deer's pursuit of a mate and the king's arrival for a hunt are central elements in the narrative, highlighting the contrast between the restlessness of nature and the purposeful actions of humans. The Stone Speaks in the Forest कविता चंद्र कांता मुरासिंग द्वारा को बोरोक यानी त्रिपुरी भाषा में लिखी गई थी, जो एक प्राचीन मिथक के बारे में जटिल तरीके से बात करती है। पूरी कविता में खोज ही मुख्य भाव है। एक सुनहरा हिरण जो अपने साथी की तलाश में है, एक राजा शिकारी अपने शिकार की तलाश में, एक आदमी अपनी प्रेमिका के साथ गहरे जंगल में अपना घर बनाने के लिए नदी के ऊपर जा रहा है, और हचुकराई नीचे की ओर बाजार की ओर नाव चला रहा है। हिरण, राजा, प्रेमी और हचुकराई सांसारिक जीवन का प्रतीक है, जो पौराणिक रूप से अतीत और वर्तमान से लिए गए हैं। प्रत्येक छंद में संरचनात्मक विपरीत सजीव और निर्जीव जैसे हिरण और पत्थर, मनुष्य और प्रकृति हैं। कुल मिलाकर यह कविता प्रकृति, शिकार और मनुष्यों और पर्यावरण के बीच बातचीत के विषयों की पड़ताल करती है। सुनहरे हिरण द्वारा एक साथी की तलाश और शिकार के लिए राजा का आगमन कथा के केंद्रीय तत्व है, जो प्रकृति की बेचैनी और मनुष्यों के उद्देश्यपूर्ण कार्यों के बीच अंतर को उजागर करते हैं। If you explain the poem this way in your examination, you are going to score full marks. Do comment your queries and feedback in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Jai Hind.